Welcome to Tour Chron. If you're a traveler and love nature, then you're at the right place. Please subscribe to us and press the bell icon. In this day and age of social media, it's easy to be misled about the hottest tourist destinations in the world. No doubt most of these places are immensely beautiful and impressive, but the doctored images on the likes of Instagram and TikTok can give us a very wrong idea about these places. Let's see what reality is like, shall we? But wait, I want to hear from you too. Share your own travel tales in the comments below. Did your adventures match up to the glossy images we see online? Let's swap stories and reveal the real deal together. These are our picks for the top 20 social media versus reality places. The Blue Lagoon. Iceland's Blue Lagoon advertises itself as an ethereal haven on social media. Images show a serene, azure-colored geometrical spa surrounded by untamed volcanic scenery, exuding calm and relaxation. Influencers and tourists frequently post pictures of themselves relaxing in the azure waters while wearing silica mud face masks, heightening the feeling of luxury and renewal. The internet story promises guests an ethereal and exclusive experience in the middle of the lonely Icelandic wilderness, all while emphasizing exclusivity and pleasure. Nevertheless, this romanticized depiction of the Blue Lagoon frequently deviates from reality. Even though the location is naturally beautiful, many tourists regularly flood there, causing crowding and lengthy times, particularly during the busiest times of the year. Large groups, noise, and commotion usually break the serene atmosphere that is portrayed online. Guests can need help finding a quiet place to unwind among the crowds of people or compete for space in the sea. Moreover, the Blue Lagoon's widespread appeal has resulted in so much commercialization, as evidenced by an expansive resort complex that houses upscale hotels, shops, and restaurants. This commercial development may diminish the site's natural attractiveness, since some visitors perceive their visit to be more like going to a water park than truly experiencing Iceland's unspoiled nature. Social media portrays the Blue Lagoon as a remote paradise. The location is frequently far from the idyllic getaway, with commercialization and crowds taking away from the area's natural charm. Mount Fuji. How people depict Mount Fuji in social media differs drastically from how it is. Mount Fuji, located in Japan, is a famous emblem of spiritual significance and natural beauty. Social media frequently portrays Mount Fuji as a lonely, magnificent peak that rises gracefully above the tranquil countryside. The symmetrical cone of the mountain is captured in photographs, often framed by vibrant foliage in autumn or cherry blossoms in spring, resulting in a stunning sight that perfectly encapsulates the allure of Japan's natural beauty. Awe-inspiring vistas from the mountain summit are shared by hikers and adventurers, who also record moments of wonder and amazement. The online story of Mount Fuji is one of adventure, cultural significance, and breathtaking natural beauty, drawing tourists from around the world to witness its majesty. However, the image of Mount Fuji in social media may only sometimes reflect the genuine mountain. Even though the hill is breathtaking, clouds frequently cover it, especially in the summer, when climbers want to catch the famous views. The popular ascent of Mount Fuji draws large crowds of climbers in the summer, causing congestion on the slopes and at mountain huts. Because of the mountain's high altitude, hazardous weather, and steep ascents, climbing Mount Fuji may be a physically taxing and challenging experience. In addition, the region around Mount Fuji has undergone significant development to serve tourists. Restaurants, retail establishments, and souvenir stores can be found all around the mountain's base. This commercialization has the potential to take away from the area's serene and natural appeal, turning it from a pristine wilderness into a busy tourist destination. Even though Mount Fuji is praised for its aesthetic appeal and cultural value on social media, the experience of visiting the mountain may differ from the tranquility depicted online due to crowds, unpredictability of the weather, and commercialization. Taj Mahal. One of the most famous sites in the world, The Taj Mahal in India is admired for its romantic charm and luxury. However, there can be significant differences in how the Taj Mahal is portrayed on social media and how it is. The Taj Mahal is frequently portrayed on social media as a faultless work of art made of white marble, with the lush gardens and blue skies in the background. Images capture the monument's fine elements, which evoke a sense of classic beauty and elegance. These details include the monument's magnificent domes, minarets, and symmetrical gardens. Influencers and tourists frequently take pictures of themselves posing in front of the Taj Mahal during sunrise or sunset, when the structure is illuminated by warm and enchanting atmosphere. The Taj Mahal is portrayed online as a place of wonder, romance, and cultural significance, enticing people to explore its rich history and marvel at its magnificence. However, the romanticized image of the Taj Mahal on social media may only sometimes reflect the experience of visiting. Millions of tourists visit the monument annually, which causes crowding and lengthy lines, especially during the busiest times of the year. The calm atmosphere portrayed on the internet is frequently shattered by the bustle of visitors, touts, and vendors competing for attention. The Taj Mahal's flawless white marble facade is also prone to pollution and deterioration, which takes away from its picture-perfect beauty. In addition, the Taj Mahal's surroundings have been extensively developed to draw tourists. As a result, the grandeur of the monument is diminished by crowded streets, businesses, and air pollution. Moreover, aggressive touts and persistent hawkers may be encountered by visitors, which would take away from the peaceful atmosphere that is depicted online. The Taj Mahal is praised on social media for its beauty and cultural significance. However, visiting the site may involve crowds, pollution, and commercialization, which can take away from its historical grandeur and romantic appeal. Big Ben, a famous landmark in London, is tall and bold. It is frequently shown on social media as a beautiful landmark against a clear blue sky. Its clock face has a timeless elegance, framed by elaborate Gothic architecture. These computer-generated images of Big Ben show it as a lone figure, surrounded by wide open areas, beckoning visitors to admire its magnificence and take the ideal picture. But the experience of going to Big Ben might be very different. The area around the well-known clock tower is breathtaking, but frequently a hive of activity. The place is crowded with visitors from all over the world, which makes the atmosphere lively and dynamic. Souvenir stores, cafes, and vendors selling everything from postcards to trinkets with London themes line the streets. It can be challenging to get around the crowds, particularly during the busiest travel seasons. Visitors excitedly await their time to ascend the stairs and see the inner workings of one of the most famous clocks in the world, with the long queues forming outside the clock tower's entrance. There's excitement and vitality about the place. Even with a crowd, people are entertained by street performers who add to the vibrant atmosphere. And although the experience might only sometimes be as tranquil as the pictures posted on social media, there's no doubting the attraction and attractiveness of being beneath this famous London landmark. Rio Verde, a charming location, is frequently portrayed on social media as a peaceful haven surrounded by luxuriant vegetation and gushing waterfalls. Pictures show tranquil settings with glistening streams winding through lush forests, luring viewers to feel the embrace of the natural world. The brilliant colors of blossoming flowers and tall trees create a beautiful scene with a sense of calm and tranquility. But the genuine Rio Verde may be a little different. Although it has breathtaking natural beauty, it is also a well-liked tourist destination, especially in summer. The formerly peaceful calm can give way to busy throngs and a hive of activity as tourists swarm to see its charms. Visitors may have to wait in line to access popular attractions like viewing platforms and picturesque locations while navigating the website. The area's bustling atmosphere is enhanced by the tourist facilities, such as restaurants and souvenir shops, which cater to the influx of visitors. Rio Verde manages to maintain its charm and attractiveness despite the masses. Moments of peace and breathtaking beauty can still be found by meandering through its secret nooks and winding trails. There are quiet areas away from the major tourist attractions, where one can take in the scenery and feel attuned to the tranquil pace of the environment. Terme di Saturnia. Social media frequently presents the Terme di Saturnia in Manciano, Italy, as an opulent hideaway where guests may submerge themselves in the therapeutic thermal springs amid breathtaking natural settings. Pictures show tranquil pools surrounded by lush vegetation and gorgeous scenery, with steam gently rising. The romantic atmosphere is enhanced by the warm tones of the setting sun, which beckons visitors to unwind and rejuvenate. However, the reality of Terme di Saturnia sometimes deviates from these romantic interpretations. Despite its obvious beauty, many people visit this location in search of the hot water's medicinal properties. In the busiest times of the year, people compete for a spot in the pools to relax and soak. Guests could run across wait times and lineups when navigating the facilities, especially to get into the popular pools and amenities. There may be occasional noise from the bathers having fun, but the mood is still calm and tranquil overall. Terme di Saturnia manages to maintain its charm and attractiveness despite the masses. Known for its therapeutic qualities since ancient times, the thermal waters attract tourists looking to unwind and improve their well-being. There are still calmer areas away from the significant pools where visitors can feel rejuvenated and enjoy the peace of the natural environment. Sydney Opera House. Australia's Sydney Opera House is a stunning piece of architecture that frequently commands attention in social media. Viewers worldwide are captivated by the breathtaking visual spectacle created by its recognizable sail-like appearance, set against the backdrop of Sydney Harbour. Images of the Opera House gleaming against the night sky or under the golden light of morning evoke a sense of grandeur and sophistication. These romanticized depictions, however, might be very different from the reality of visiting the Sydney Opera House. Although it is a must-see, the location is a hive of activity that attracts both performers and visitors. A bustling environment welcomes visitors upon arrival as groups congregate to take in the surrounding waterfront promenade, snap pictures, and appreciate the architecture. When strolling about the Opera House precinct, one comes across a lively blend of eateries, cafes, and retail establishments providing various dining and shopping options. Inside, the performance halls and theaters are alive with activity as guests congregate to take in top-notch productions, which include concerts, theater, opera, and ballet. There are quiet times in the Opera House despite the crowd of people. Architectural wonders such as grand staircases, minute embellishments, and expansive harbor views can be found within. Quieter areas away from the main thoroughfares encourage introspection and thought, enabling guests to appreciate this historic relic's significance and beauty fully. Despite the Sydney Opera House's portrayal on social media as a serene and immaculate representation of artistic brilliance, the building is a lively and dynamic destination where culture, entertainment, and architectural genius come together to create an experience that tourists from all over the world won't soon forget. The art of Mona Lisa. One of the most well-known pieces of art worldwide is the Mona Lisa, which is kept in the Louvre Museum in Paris, France. Pictures of the Mona Lisa on social media frequently show the painting alone, captivating viewers with the subject's enigmatic smile and the delicate intricacies of Leonardo da Vinci's masterwork. Usually, the painting is depicted in a controlled setting, with gentle lighting highlighting its charm and luring spectators to consider its enduring beauty. However, the experience of seeing the Mona Lisa can differ significantly from these well-chosen representations. Being one of the Louvre's most visited sites, hordes of people frequently swarm around the painting to catch a look at the famous piece of art. Upon entering the exhibition, a swarm of people greets one, all anxious to snap a picture of the mysterious smile or to get a close-up look at the painting. It can be challenging to find your way through the crowd of people as they vie for attention from the picture. The gallery can be noisy and chaotic despite the controlled surroundings. The constant hum of discussion and shuffling of feet creates a dynamic atmosphere. Seeing the Mona Lisa in person is an unforgettable experience, even with a crowd. Awe-inspiring sights include the painting's captivating presence and the chance to see up close one of the finest pieces of art in history. Standing in front of the Mona Lisa is a monument to the legendary masterpiece's timeless power and fascination, even though the experience may not match the tranquil photos shared on social media. Maldives. The Maldives enthralls viewers with its dreamlike beauty. It is frequently portrayed on social media as a paradise of blue oceans. Pictures reveal immaculate islands encircled by glistening lagoons, with vibrant aquatic life flourishing beneath the surface, and palm trees swing softly in the warm air. Images taken at dusk and dawn bring out the archipelago's breathtaking natural beauty and evoke a sense of peace and romance. The reality of traveling to the Maldives, however, sometimes deviates from these romanticized images. The Maldives is a popular travel destination, especially for those looking for luxury and relaxation, even though it is unquestionably stunning. The commotion of airport transportation and resort employees excited to welcome visitors to their island hideaways greet passengers upon arrival. While navigating the resort islands, guests come across various features and activities aimed at elevating their stay, such as top-notch spas, fine eating establishments, and water sports and excursions. Some resorts may feel more crowded than others, especially during the busiest travel seasons, even though they provide exclusive access to secret hideaways and private beaches. The charm and fascination of the Maldives remain, even with possible crowds. The clear waters provide excellent diving and snorkeling opportunities, showcasing a thriving underwater ecosystem complete with diverse marine life and colorful coral reefs. Understanding the rich cultural legacy of the Maldivians can be gained by participating in island tours and cultural events that explore the local customs and culture. Maldives is a bustling location where luxury and natural beauty combine to offer a memorable experience for travelers seeking romance, adventure, and leisure in a tropical paradise. However, social media may portray the Maldives as a magical getaway to paradise. Tulum Ruins. A symbol of both natural beauty and ancient mystique, they are frequently portrayed on social media as a gorgeous archaeological site with a view of the Caribbean Sea. Pictures display the well-presented ruins set on limestone cliffs, surrounded by lush vegetation and the Caribbean's blue water. A sense of awe and intrigue is evoked by the towering Temple of the Wind and El Castillo constructions against the backdrop of the ocean. The reality of visiting the Tulum Ruins, however, may differ slightly from these romanticized depictions. Even though it's clearly fascinating, a lot of people visit the location, especially in the summer. Crowds and long queues greet visitors who are there to discover the ancient Mayan metropolis as they arrive at the entrance. These visitors come from all over the world. As one makes their way through the ruins, they come across alleys crowded with sellers of trinkets and drinks, contributing to the lively ambience. There are quiet spots within the archaeological site despite the crowd, especially early in the morning or late in the afternoon when there are fewer tour groups. The Tulum Ruins provide an excellent window into the rich history and culture of the Mayan civilization, even with the possibility of crowds. Investigating the prehistoric temples, homes, and ceremonial edifices offers a window into the customs and everyday activities of the Mayan people who formerly called the region home. Plitvice Lakes National Park. This place is without a doubt a beautiful spot. Croatia's largest national park. It's full of lakes, rivers, and waterfalls, which have riddled the area with caves and natural rock formations. It's situated in the mountainous area of central Croatia, and it has been declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And well, it might be. The turquoise water with the forests and cliffs looming all around obviously makes for the very scenic photographs and videos. Picture this, a lone figure standing on the wooden walkways with the verdant forests and rich color of the water in the background. That's all very well, but the reality is immense overcrowding. When the busloads of tourists arrive every morning, they crawl all over the place like ants. Supposedly, they've even tried to go swimming in the lakes. The wooden walkways have people standing on them shoulder to shoulder, all huddled together. there certainly won't be any cool romantic pictures with a stranger breathing down your neck. Also, that brilliant turquoise color is definitely touched up in the editing. Not even the most scenic lakes in the world could be that color in real life. The Eiffel Tower. All of us have been intimidated by views of happy couples in front of the Eiffel Tower and people picnicking in the gardens around its base. It's one of the marvels of the modern world. Some people might think it's overrated, but given that the structure was built in the 1880s, we can't help but be awestruck by Gustave Eiffel's architectural sensibilities. But here's a sad reality check. Actually, visiting the Eiffel Tower may be rather different than what your favorite Instagram influencers in romantic comedies are telling you. Hordes and hordes of tourists stand around the tower at all hours of the day, and large tourist buses line the roads nearby. If you're hoping for a cinematic shot of yourself standing alone in front of the Eiffel Tower, you're bound to be disappointed. Alas, those lovely, grassy lawns are also off limits a lot of the time and may be fenced off completely. No picnics in the sun there. Not to mention the overflowing bins of trash all over the place from all the tourists. If you've headed out to take in the sunrise at the Eiffel Tower, those piles of garbage are sure to take you out of the zone. No less than the other tourists clicking away at your elbow. Santorini Island. This is exactly what we envision when we think about Greece. Or at least the version of Santorini we see on Instagram. In fact, so many people visit Santorini just for the sake of their social media that the reality of it can be quite claustrophobic. How can you enjoy the vast sea vistas, windmills, and white churches with giant blue domes when there's some kind of photo shoot going on at every corner? When you're constantly nudging people out of the way for that one look at the sunset, the trip doesn't seem worth all that much anymore. But suppose you decide to risk the tourists and the crowded streets. Suppose you still want a glimpse at all those views that you've been seeing online. Suppose you too want a picture with those beautiful blue and white houses. Well, you might be devastated to learn that many of these spots are now illegal to visit and photograph. They're privately owned pieces of land and have all kinds of notices up warning off tourists. Alas, the whole trip might seem a waste in that case. It's best to manage your expectations when visiting a place like Santorini. The city of Oia, which is the center of the tourist hub, is also quite overpriced. If you really want those secluded corners and nooks of the city that seem so appealing on social media, be prepared to shell out enormous amounts of money. It's only the most expensive, and hence exclusive hotels that can give you that experience. And apart from the few cliffside cities like Oia, the rest of the island really isn't visually all that impressive. Railay Beach. The limestone cliff at Railay Beach in Thailand are really what attracts so many people. White cliffs covered in forests, rising right out of the sea. Looks like something from a fantasy world, doesn't it? It could literally be James Cameron's Avatar come to life. The only way to get to Railay Beach? By boat. So, you think that it would be a quiet and secluded corner of Thailand? Not so. Scores and scores of boats line the beach, and hundreds of tourists are packed on the sands. That's not to say that the place isn't beautiful, but it's definitely not the deserted beach that Instagram would try to tell you it is. Fast food joints and the smell of food and cannabis hangs around the entire area. Just as you're trying to find a quiet bit of beach to soak in the beauty, you're likely to see a boat full of tourists zipping by you. You might also be aware of going in the wrong season. Go there in the monsoons, and there's no question about stripping off your outerwear and running into the sea. Terrible hard winds and mist will threaten to pull you off your feet. And there are periods in the year when the water recedes so far, the entire place feels like a big, muddy marsh. That's really not the vibe you'd want for your beachside holiday, is it? It's best to do some research before venturing in that direction. Brooklyn Bridge. So far, we've established that the biggest problem with most of these tourist places that are popular on social media is the crowds. And the case is really no different for Brooklyn Bridge in New York, USA. Social media aficionados and influencers flock here in large numbers, especially during the sunset, to get a great view of the iconic bridge that joins Brooklyn with Manhattan. So if you're a tourist trying to get the perfect photo of the famed Brooklyn Bridge, you'll find your view mostly blocked. Whether you're on the bridge itself or you're below it, and trying to frame the truly perfect shot, there's people by the hundreds, as well as parked vehicles to disrupt your photograph. Many tourists also make mention of the hazy quality of the air due to pollution, and all the garbage that can be found in the side streets which offer a view of the bridge. New York is a busy and crowded city after all. Not even at midnight would you have this thoroughfare all to yourself. There have been efforts to minimize the crowd by removing the vendors from the bridge. This has helped a little, but it obviously doesn't match up with what you see on social media. If you do want a photo shoot on the bridge, you'd better head there early in the morning and hope for the best. Rio de Janeiro. This place is pretty well known for the contrast between its huge glass and steel sea-facing high-rises and the more poverty-stricken areas tucked away out of sight within the city. We're all familiar with the tourist photographs of Rio de Janeiro, the wide, sweeping beaches, and the figure of Christ the Redeemer looking out over the city. What we don't see in these photographs are the hundreds and thousands of people crowding these tourist spots when no grain of sand is visible because of the number of packed bodies on the beach. It's a rather disappointing experience. Of course, these richer and more modern sections of Rio de Janeiro is only one side of the coin. The unseen and less photographed areas are the favelas, the poorer quarters that are often hidden away from tourists. In fact, there's quite a debate and controversy about this matter in Brazil because the favelas get quite a bad name. The general attitude seems to be that they are hotbeds of crime and violence. There are some safari-like tours of these areas where some interested tourists visit and photograph the spaces like they're photographing animals in the wild. Recently, locals have started walking tours of the favelas to show tourists that places like Rotina house regular people in regular shops and regular restaurants. These tours show the reality of a different side of Rio de Janeiro, not the multi-billion-dollar apartments that face the sea, but the living conditions of the ordinary citizens of the country. Venice, one of the most beautiful and unique cities in the world. None of us can deny this fact. It's got years and years of history, and the old stone buildings, churches, and bridges all make for a very picturesque view. But at the end of the day, Venice is a city, and as such, it's filled with a lot of the grime and dirt that most cities have. One thing that grand pictures of the canals and the romantic gondolas cannot prepare us for is the smell. Many tourists have commented on the stale stench that hangs around the water and how it ruined their experience of Venice completely. There are also the crowds. As with most old cities, some of the lanes of Venice are very narrow indeed. And in the height of the tourist season, you're constantly brushing shoulders with strangers. St. Mark's Square can be suffocating because of the crowds, and the streets are sometimes lined with graffiti and garbage. Some of the houses are old and seem to be crumbling. The gondolas, for all that they look so romantic, are extremely overpriced. What a lot of tourists don't seem to understand is that it's entirely possible to get around the city without boats, and the gondolas are mostly a touristy gimmick. When your gondola is bumping into another one because of the sheer number of people out on the canal, it doesn't seem quite so romantic. In the end, it's important to realize that what we see on a screen is very far from the actual truth. This knowledge might help us manage any expectations we might have and the subsequent disappointments that might arise. The Stonehenge. A lot of the English countryside can feel like a land out of time. There's a fairy tale quality to the green rolling fields, and in the case of Stonehenge, it can be quite mysterious and eerie to see the standing stone circle rising out of the middle of nowhere. We've seen pictures of Stonehenge at sunset, and it truly seems like a magical place. After all, those questions are always there in the back of our minds. Who built it, and why? How have they stood all these millennia undisturbed? Against the backdrop of purple and orange skies and the bright green of the grass underneath, they might make an absolutely spectacular sight. However, the issue is that everybody thinks so. Everyone wants to see Stonehenge at sunset. Everyone has a certain idea about how it will look. And so, it ends up looking nothing like how we imagined it. because there's a whole bunch of people standing around you, trying to capture that perfect moment on camera. There's also the fact that people really aren't allowed near the standing stones, except on the solstices. And since the solstices are the days when the crowds are the biggest, we're in a bit of a catch-22 situation. Stonehenge is still quite impressive, of course. You can wander around it and think about the mysteries of long ago druids to your heart's content. But if you're thinking about touching the stones or hitting under them waiting for a fairy to emerge, unfortunately, you'll be disappointed. Pyramids of Giza. The Pyramids of Giza are some of the oldest and most intact monuments in the world. That kind of history attracts anybody, even people who aren't actually interested in the Egyptian civilization of old. After all, what engineering wonders they are. Imagine a man-made monument standing for so many years, withstanding all the natural forces of the world. No wonder people make trips to Egypt just to see the pyramids. And yet, the reality is quite different from the pictures we see. In our heads, we may be picturing a vast desert, with some camels roaming around in the foreground. The pyramids, monstrous in size, soar to great heights in the background, while you are the only person present there. In reality, Giza is not only full of tourists buzzing around everywhere, but also hawkers and tourist guides. There are long queues for going into the pyramids, and social media usually doesn't talk about how long this process takes. Moreover, the pyramids aren't out in the middle of the desert, as we imagine. They lie right on the edge of the quite modern city of Cairo, looking like anomalies rising up behind the city streets. The Sphinx, which guards the pyramids, and which is a source of great excitement, is the most disappointing of the whole lot. It gets dwarfed by the Great Pyramids and looks quite unimpressive and minuscule. The pyramids still remain engineering marvels. We can't deny that. The fault lies entirely with human expectations. Trevi Fountain. In a city full of beautiful monuments and sculptures, the Trevi Fountain is just one more to add to the lot. Rome and Italy as a whole isn't lacking in beautiful architecture. It's probably one of the most famous fountains in the world and is supposed to represent the Greek god Oceanus and his chariot. When lit up at night, the play between stonework and water looks absolutely magical. But for anyone dreaming of taking pictures with Oceanus or walking around the fountain hand in hand with their significant other, there's a rude shock coming. The fountain often gets so crowded that there's no room to even stand. Forget about getting to the front, for which you'll have to push and shove your way through the crowd. You'll be lucky if you get a good long look at the sculpture. The superstition that throwing a coin into the fountain will bring you back to Rome again someday means the bottom of the fountain is littered with coins. No pristine marble flooring to be seen because of the thousands of euros that end up in Trevi Fountain every day. And there you have it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Ever been to any of these spots? Give us the scoop. If you enjoyed this video, show us some love by hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel for more awesome content in the future. See you in the next video.